The chamber shook with low vibrations. The circle beneath the soldier's feet brightened again. Symbols on the walls glowed with sharp light. The tall alien raised his hand, and the crowd fell into silence. His voice echoed with authority, though. The soldier could not understand the words. Still, he understood the meaning. A test was coming. The alien girl's grip on his arm tightened. Her silver hair glowed faintly in the light. Her eyes looked up at him, filled with worry. She whispered one word that he could understand. Trial. The soldier's heart pounded. He had been through training, through battle, through pain. But this was different. This was not a war, he knew. This was something ancient, something sacred to these people. He did not belong here, yet he was standing in the center of their circle. Chosen or cursed by a relic he barely understood. The ground shifted under his boots. The circle expanded, glowing brighter. Suddenly the air was filled with light, and the world around him dissolved. For a moment he felt weightless. Then he found himself standing in a vast space, not the chamber, but a place of illusions. The floor was endless black stone, the sky. Above a swirl of stars, voices echoed around him, deep and ancient. They spoke in the alien tongue, yet somehow he felt the meaning in his bones. Prove your strength, prove your will, prove your heart. The soldier clenched his fists. His body still hurt, but his spirit flared. He had come this far by refusing to fall, and he would not falter now. From the shadows, figures began to rise. At first, they looked like the aliens he had seen in the chamber, but then their shapes shifted, growing taller, sharper, more monstrous. Their glowing eyes fixed on him, their forms twisted like nightmares. They circled him slowly, waiting. He took a step back, raising his arms. His body ached, but his instincts were sharp. These were not real. He told himself, this was a test. But even an illusion could kill if he gave in to fear. The first figure lunged. Its clawed hands slashed toward him. The soldier ducked, rolling across the black stone. Pain shot through his ribs, but he ignored it. He rose quickly and struck back with a fierce punch. The figure dissolved into smoke. Vanishing into the air, more came at him, 3 at once. He fought with raw strength and instinct. Dodging, striking, blocking, each one vanished when struck. But each blow left him weaker. His breaths came heavy. Sweat ran down his face. His body shook, but his eyes burned with fire. The voices echoed again. Strength is not enough. The soldier froze as the shadows shifted. Now the figures changed. He saw faces, not of monsters, but of people he once knew. Fellow soldiers, comrades lost in battle. They reached out to him with accusing eyes. Their voices whispered, "Why did you survive when we did not?" His chest tightened, his fists lowered. The weight of guilt pressed on him. He had seen too many die, too many he could not save. Their faces haunted his nights. And now, here they were again, surrounding him. He dropped to his knees, trembling. The voices grew louder, filling his mind. The trial was not just about strength. It was breaking him from within. Then he felt a small hand on his shoulder. He turned his head, and there she was, the alien girl. Glowing softly in the darkness, she should not have been there. Yet she was. Her voice was gentle, her eyes steady. "Protector," she whispered. The word cut through the noise. His chest lifted as he drew in a sharp breath. He remembered the blast, the moment he chose to shield her, the moment he decided that one life, even alien, was worth saving. He had not been strong enough to save everyone, but he had saved her, and that mattered. He stood slowly, his legs shaking but firm. He faced the shadows of his fallen comrades. His voice was steady though soft. "I carry you with me, but I will not stop. I will fight for the living, for what can still be saved." The figures stared at him, then dissolved into light. The voices echoed again. Will is not enough. The ground cracked, and from the floor rose another illusion. This time it was the alien girl, but older, taller, her eyes cold, her face twisted with anger. She held the glowing sphere in her hands. Her voice rang out, "You will betray me. You will destroy us." The soldier's chest pounded. His instincts screamed to deny it. But the illusion felt real, so real. He stepped closer, shaking his head. "No, I will not. I swore to protect you." The illusion's eyes burned with light. "Then prove it," she whispered, her form shattered into dust, leaving only the real girl standing beyond the circle, watching him with tearful eyes. The light around him pulsed one last time. The illusions vanished. The black stone floor cracked and dissolved. The stars above faded, and suddenly he was back in the chamber. He collapsed to his knees, gasping for air, his body drenched in sweat, his heart pounding like thunder. The glowing circle dimmed and faded away. The trial was over. The aliens around him stared in silence, their faces unreadable. The tall alien stepped forward, his golden skin glowing brighter than before. His voice filled the chamber, solemn and deep. The soldier did not understand the words, but he understood the meaning. He had passed. The alien girl rushed forward, her silver hair shining. She threw her small arms around him, whispering softly, "Protector." Her voice was trembling, but filled with pride. The soldier closed his eyes for a moment, breathing heavily. He had survived, but he knew this was only the beginning. The trial of the ancients had tested his strength, his will, and his heart. But greater challenges still waited beyond these walls. And deep inside, he felt the glowing sphere pulsing with power, tying his fate to theirs forever. The circle beneath the soldier's feet glowed brighter. The air hummed with energy that pressed against his skin. He felt as if the chamber itself was alive, watching him, studying him. The tall alien figure raised his hand, and the light dimmed. Slowly, the trial had not yet begun. Instead, the silence stretched. Heavy and strange, the alien girl stepped forward, her small form glowing softly in the dim chamber. She clutched the round object close to her chest. Her silver hair shimmered in the light, and her large eyes focused only on the soldier. She looked frightened, but there was also determination on her face. The tall alien turned to her, speaking words the soldier could not understand. His voice was calm but stern. The girl answered quickly, her voice sharp and urgent. The others around them whispered again. Some gasped, others stared in disbelief. The soldier's heart pounded. Something important was happening, something about him. The girl's hands trembled as she lifted the round object. Slowly, she held it out so that all could see. It was not just a simple thing. It was a sphere of crystal, glowing faintly with threads of light that moved inside like living fire. The energy pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, filling the room with soft waves of warmth. The soldier stared at it, confused. He had seen many weapons, many machines, but this was different. It felt alive. He could feel its presence reaching out to him, brushing against his thoughts, whispering something just beyond his understanding. He took a step back, his breath catching in his throat. The tall alien spoke again, his tone louder now, commanding. The girl shook her head, holding the crystal sphere tighter. She turned her gaze to the soldier and then spoke a single word. Her voice echoed, carrying both fear and hope. "Chosen." The room fell silent. The whispers stopped. Every eye turned to the soldier. Their faces were filled with disbelief and shock. Some looked afraid, some looked angry. The soldier stood frozen, unable to understand. He pointed to himself, his voice rough. "Me?" The girl nodded slowly. She walked toward him and placed the sphere gently into his hands. The moment his skin touched it, light burst from the crystal. A wave of energy surged through his body. His wounds throbbed, his heartbeat quickened, his vision filled with flashes, images of stars, burning worlds, ancient cities rising and falling. He gasped, dropping to one knee, the sphere glowing brighter in his grip. When the vision ended, he was trembling. His chest rose and fell rapidly. The crystal pulsed softly now, as if it had accepted him. The aliens around him cried out, some stepping back in fear. The tall alien narrowed his eyes, his expression unreadable. The soldier looked down at the girl. She was staring at him with wide eyes, but there was no fear in her gaze, only trust. She whispered softly, "Protector." Her voice shook, but Her eyes were steady. He understood then. The girl was not ordinary. She was someone important to her people. The sphere was no toy. It was a symbol, maybe even a sacred relic, and somehow by saving her, he had become tied to it, tied to her, tied to their destiny. The tall alien spoke again, his words heavy. His voice echoed like thunder. The girl responded. Quickly, her tone sharp, as if she was defending the soldier. The others muttered, their voices rising and falling like a storm. The soldier felt the weight of their judgment pressing down on him. He wanted to speak, to explain. But what could he say? He was just a human soldier. He had no idea what this relic was or why it had reacted to him. All he knew was that he had shielded a frightened child in a battlefield. He had expected death, not this. The girl stepped closer and touched his arm. She whispered again, this time slower. Her words broken but clear enough for him to understand. You are part of it now. The soldier swallowed hard. His mind raced. What did that mean? Was he trapped? Was he marked for something he could not escape? He glanced at the glowing sphere in his hands. Its light reflecting in his eyes. It felt heavy. Not in weight but in meaning. The tall alien finally turned, speaking to the others. His words carried finality. The chamber filled with tension. The soldier knew a decision had been made. The girl gripped his arm tightly, refusing to let go. Her small voice whispered to him again, "They will test you." His jaw tightened. He understood now. This was not over. This was only the beginning. He had walked into a path he could not turn away from. The girl's secret had bound him to a destiny that stretched far beyond himself. Light in the chamber dimmed again. The whispers grew louder. The soldier looked at the girl. Her glowing skin and bright eyes steady despite the fear around them. He realized something in that moment. He was no longer just a soldier fighting. In a war, he had become part of something ancient, something vast, and as the glowing sphere pulsed in his hands, he knew that his life had changed forever. The soldier's eyes opened slowly. At first, everything was blurry. He could only see a soft glow around him. His body felt heavy, every muscle screaming in pain. He tried to move his arms, but they felt like stone. His breath was shallow, and his chest burned with every inhale. For a moment he thought he was still lying on the battlefield, surrounded by fire and death. But as his vision cleared, he realized this was no battlefield. The smell of smoke was gone, replaced by a faint sweetness in the air. The roar of explosions was gone, replaced by a soft humming sound that vibrated through the walls. He blinked again, and the sight before him filled him with confusion and wonder. He was lying on a smooth platform made of glowing crystal. The surface pulsed with faint blue light, as if it was alive. Around him stood tall figures with luminous skin, their eyes large and unblinking. Their robes shimmered with shifting colors. They did not speak. They only stared at him as if he were a creature from another world. The soldier's heart pounded. He forced himself to sit up, though pain stabbed through his ribs. He touched his chest and felt the rough bandages covering his wounds. Someone had treated him. Someone had saved him. He looked around. The chamber was vast, its walls curved like the inside of a great shell. Symbols glowed faintly on the surface, and streams of light flowed through channels in the floor. It was unlike anything human hands could build. Then he heard a sound, a small voice, trembling yet familiar. The alien girl stepped forward from the group. Her silver hair glowed softly in the light. Her large eyes were still filled with fear but also relief. She carried the same round object in her hands, holding it tightly against her chest. She looked at him with a strange expression, as if she could not believe he was alive. "You," the soldier whispered, his voice weak. His throat was dry, but he managed to speak. The girl nodded slowly, her gaze never leaving him. The others around them whispered in a language he did not understand. Their voices echoed like music, yet carried tones of suspicion. He could feel their stares cutting into him. Some looked at him with fear, others with anger. He was an outsider, a stranger who had no place in their sacred hall, yet he was here. Alive, when no human should have been able to survive such wounds. The soldier tried to stand. His legs shook beneath him. He placed a hand on the glowing platform to steady himself. His breath came heavy, but he refused to fall. He had faced worse than pain before. He raised his eyes to the figures surrounding him, their expressions unreadable. One of them stepped forward, taller than the rest. His skin glowed gold, and his robe shimmered with bright silver patterns. His voice echoed when he spoke, deep and resonant, though the soldier could not understand the words. The alien girl stepped closer to the tall figure and spoke quickly. Her voice soft yet urgent, she pointed at the soldier, then pressed her small hand against her chest. The tall figure's eyes narrowed. He studied the soldier carefully, as if trying to see through his very soul. The silence in the chamber grew heavy. Every alien watched, waiting for the decision. The soldier did not understand their words, but he could feel the weight of the moment. He clenched his fists, ignoring the sting of pain in his wounds. He knew he had been brought here for a reason. The way they stared at him was not ordinary curiosity. It was something deeper, something mixed with disbelief and fear. The alien girl stepped closer to him. She placed her hand gently on his arm. Her touch was soft, her skin faintly warm. She looked at him with eyes that shimmered like stars. And then she said a single word, clear and strong. It was not in human language, yet somehow he understood. Protector. The soldier froze. His heart skipped a beat. The chamber echoed with murmurs as the others repeated the word, their voices rising and falling like a tide. He looked down at the girl, her small hand still resting on his arm. And he realized something. By saving her, he had become more than a stranger. He had stepped into a destiny he did not choose. The tall alien raised his hand, and the voices grew silent. He pointed toward a door that opened with a hiss beyond. It was a corridor of light. The soldier was being summoned. But for what? He did not know. His legs trembled, but he took a step forward. The girl followed, her eyes never leaving him. Every step down the glowing corridor made his heart pound faster. He had survived an explosion. He had protected a child not of his kind. And now he was walking into the unknown. The walls shimmered with streams of energy, and the air grew colder. The whispers of the aliens behind him faded, replaced by a deeper silence. Finally, the corridor ended in another chamber, larger and darker. Strange machines lined the walls, humming with ancient power. At the center was a great circle carved into the floor, glowing faintly with shifting light. The tall alien gestured toward it. His voice rang out, commanding and final. The soldier looked at the circle, then at the girl, who still clutched the object close to her chest. Her eyes pleaded with him to be strong. He took a deep breath, stepped into the circle, and the ground lit up beneath his feet. The humming grew louder. Symbols glowed brighter. The chamber shook with energy. The soldier stood tall, though his body was weak. He did not know what this was. A test, a trial, or something worse, but he knew one thing for certain. Whatever awaited him, he would face it, because he was human, and humans did not back down. The night sky was burning with fire and smoke. The battlefield shook with the roar of weapons. Soldiers ran for cover, some shouting orders, some crying out in fear. In the middle of this chaos, a human soldier pressed forward. His body was covered in dust, his face smeared with blood, but his eyes were sharp and alive. He knew he had one mission: to protect the helpless and bring them to safety. Through the smoke, he saw her, a small alien girl, her skin glowing faintly under the firelight. Her silver hair shone like threads of moonlight. Her large eyes were filled with fear. She was standing alone, frozen, as explosions cracked the ground around her. Her small hands trembled as she clutched a round object close to her chest. She was just a child, lost in a storm of war. The soldier's heart raced. He had seen death many times, but this moment felt different. Something inside him screamed that he could not leave her. He sprinted forward, ignoring the bullets that whistled past his ears, ignoring the burning pain in his legs. His boots struck the ground hard as he rushed. Toward her. Move, he shouted, his voice breaking through the thunder of destruction. But the alien girl did not move. Her body was frozen like stone. Her wide eyes stared at him, as if begging him for help. He reached her just as the world exploded again. A massive blast erupted from the side. The ground shook so hard it felt like the world was tearing apart. He saw the bright flash of fire, then the deadly storm of shrapnel flying toward them. He had no time to think. His instincts took control. He threw himself over the alien girl, wrapping his arms around her small frame. His body became the shield between her and death. The explosion roared in his ears. Shards of metal ripped into his back. Pain shot through him like lightning. His teeth clenched, but he did not let go. The girl was pressed against his chest, her face hidden, her small fingers clutching his vest as if her life depended on it. The force of the blast threw them both to the ground. Dust and fire filled the air. The soldier could taste blood in his mouth. His vision blurred, but his grip around the girl never loosened. His arms locked like iron, holding her close. He felt the sharp sting of shrapnel cutting deeper, hot blood running down his skin. His breathing grew heavy, but still he refused to let go. The alien girl trembled in his arms. She was crying now, her tears hot against his skin. In that moment, he felt something powerful. It was not duty, not training. It was pure instinct, the will to protect. His mind screamed that he might not survive, but his heart whispered that saving her was worth every drop of pain. The world around him seemed to slow. The fire burned in slow motion. The smoke twisted. In the air, the distant screams grew faint. All he could hear was the sound of the girl's breath. All he could feel was her tiny heartbeat pounding against his chest. He smiled faintly, though his lips were cracked with blood. He had done it. She was alive, but his strength was leaving him. His arms grew heavy. His vision turned dark. He tried to whisper something, but his voice was gone. The last thing he saw before his eyes closed was the alien girl's wide gaze staring at him, full of shock, fear, and something more something. He could not understand. Then the darkness swallowed him. For a moment there was silence. Only the faint echo of fire in the distance. The alien girl pressed her face against him, still clutching him tightly as if afraid he would vanish. Around them, the battlefield continued to rage, but inside that small circle of broken ground, a bond had been forged. The soldier's body lay still, pierced with shrapnel. His chest rose and fell in weak, uneven breaths. The alien girl did not let go of him. Her tears fell silently as her glowing skin lit the shadows. The scene was both tragic and powerful. The image of a human who had given everything to protect a life not his own. The blast had changed everything. The war raged on. But something new had begun in that moment. The story of a soldier who chose to save rather than destroy. The story of a human who took the explosion's shrapnel to protect an alien child. And though his body was broken, his fate was only beginning.